Hello guys, this is John Wei. I am starting this section of my YouTube channel for music reviews of songs that I generally like to listen to. This is going to be a kind of breakaway from your conventional reaction video where you just sit there and make a few facial expressions and cash in on that YouTube money. This is not going to be that. This is going to be mainly me, coming from me as a classical musician, trying to analyze what I see and find in the songs that I enjoy to listen to, made by others. So, two things. One is in the other section of my channel, Classical Music Playing, is where I will upload my actual legitimate classical piano playing. I'm a classical pianist, to kind of establish my musician street creds, if you will. The second is from just, since this is the first video, let's set a precedent that before you watch my video, always check out the original video. Links will always be in the description below, because basically having to have my face in the corner of the video and then having the song play, and then if I have to pause it to say anything in the middle of it, it just ruins the whole experience. Plus, since we are talking about individual musicians that's creating these music, I think it's just ethically correct to give these musicians some support that they deserve. At least a few YouTube views. That should be fair enough, yeah? But anyways, let us begin. So today we are talking about the song by the band Sabaton, Fields of Verdun. They are a Swedish power metal band that makes songs about important events and typically battles or something militarily related about history. Fields of Verdun is obviously about the Battle of Verdun in World War I, the longest battle throughout that entire war, where on the Western Front they have the trench warfare, and since armored warfare was not yet available, and the charging out over the top, over a trench, into the face of machine gun fire is basically suicide, and the military theory at the time coined the term absolute weapon for the machine gun. As in, it absolutely mows down people. As long as it has ammo, no amount of people you throw at it is going to get past that wall of lead. Yeah, so which is why it became such a bloody conflict. And that ties perfectly into how they did their lyrics. Namely, the cinematics right off the bat, the guy getting shell-shocked PTSD, yelling, that's very fitting, because with the introduction with all of these new weapons, machine guns, high explosive TNT artillery shells, poison gas, the war becomes a lot less about personal heroism, much more about just suffering and meaningless slaughter. There is a quote by some veteran, was it World War I or World War II? I don't exactly remember, but to paraphrase the quote, he said, "War is organized massacre and nothing else." I think that is brought to, that side of war really manifested itself in World War I. Because there was no more heroic glory. You're not going in clean, fancy suits, wielding your whatever weapon, and the officers are supposed to be gentlemanly. None of that stuff anymore. Which is why throughout the later section of the song, it talks about the madness of the war, which I find really fitting and appropriate, and is like kind of like this music, their official music video, by the fact that the music video is not shying away from the gore of it, and the guy getting headshotted is quite realistic and quite shocking, but just by that fact alone, I think they're doing a good job of basically bringing the anti-war message and not glorifying war, if you will, out there. So that's the kind of the historical side of it. Let's jump into the musical side of it. Right off the bat, the intro is very much jumping straight into it at the 0:21-22 second mark. No Nonsense starts out at very high energy, and since they can pull it off, I love it. And there are a few things to it. First, it just sounds like one of those. It sounds like one of those old 80s, 90s anime intro, which I am completely a fan of. I watched some animes when I was 8 to 12, I guess. My cousins dragged me into it. I never actually finished any show, but I just, like every time we go over, our families are pretty close. He just dragged me into his room and just starts watching episodes after episodes. So that's kind of how I got my anime literacy, if you will. But the music, the guitar music is always nice in those ones. And this one has that kind of vibe, right? And notice in the intro, if we just backtrack to... Right. So the reason that it has such a strong forward momentum in this intro, and for the rest of the song, it's gonna come back later as an important thing, is the way they use their rhythm. It's always, the strong beat is on the second and the fourth. So if you pay attention, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's a thing that I was taught in class, quite literally. Because the conventional way of thinking is 1, 2, 3, 4, with 1 the strongest, 3 the second strongest, and 2, 4 just kind of tagging along. That gives you a very established beat, kind of, I'm just walking along, and a very solidified rhythm. Now, if you have that bass, and you give it a twist, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so now 2, 4 is strongest, and then stronger than 1, 3. Now you have just reversed it, and imagine if your person is walking, and 1, 2, 3, 4, all of a sudden you have just took off running, and it feels faster, it feels more energetic. Even though if you take a timer, a metronome, a electronic or mechanical, it is literally still the same speed. It just feels faster and more energetic. And in this case, it's really fitting because it needs to be built more chaotic to describe warfare, yeah? So, great job, basically. This video is going to be full of compliments. From my personal view, this is one of their better written songs. So there's not going to be much criticism at all. The second section that I want to talk about is at 2 minutes 38 seconds. The solo guitar. Two things. One is the solo guitar is absolutely fire. The person has a lot of skills, just mechanical skills with the guitar. I once tried to play a guitar. I have been playing piano since I was 3 years old, and I'm now 20, so I assume that with my knowledge of music and my agility with the fingers, I would be able to pick up a guitar pretty quick. And let me tell you, no, absolutely not. If you see someone do something that's cool and they make it look easy, chances are it's not easy, and they put in the hard work for that. So like, let's just really appreciate the skill level and the work they put into it. Now that's the first thing. Second thing, this guitar solo, it really reminds me, because I come from a classical music background, it reminds me of the Beethoven Fifth Symphony's kind of beginning. Beethoven Fifth Symphony, also nicknamed Fate. I will play this solo guitar section, and I will play the beginning of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, and I think you'll get a hold on what I'm trying to say. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2. Right, so let's go through this. Wait for it. Wait for it. Right, so the similarity, my God. I am always a fan when I always kind of just get this jolt of joy when modern musicians applies lessons from classical musical pieces, important ones, correctly in the correct context, and basically give it a modern instrumental arrangement and adaptation, and brings it to a new life, and it just brings out the awesomeness of the original composition and the awesomeness of the just sheer power of modern sound equipment and electronical instrument. And when that perfect match happens, it's just, oh God, it's so good, right? So let's talk about why that is good though. So going back to the rhythm thing, the 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4, right? So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, so like 1, 2, 3, 4 is every beat in a measure, and in those beats they have 4 notes in every one of those. So 4 times 4, right? That's 16. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, it's 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. Whilst the guitarist is doing that, 1 second, 238, where are you? Whilst the guitarist is taking care of the 16th, the microscopic scale of how to make the music just stand up and becomes alive, the drummer still has the 1, 2, 3, 4 thing that we were talking about, which just like when the two blends together so beautifully. It's like, what are those things? The Roman pillars with their decorations, right? When the drummer is acting like just the bare bones, straight up 90-degree pillar, and the guitarist is adding in all the fine sculpting and decoration and all the flowers and all that kind of stuff. One does not affect the other, one complements the other, and one supports the other. And you have macroscopic musical thinking, and you have microscopic musical thinking. And oh boy, they come together so well. That's, once again, like, go back and listen to the song. You won't regret it. I used to be not into metal music, but after I've heard some of Sabaton stuff, I have a lot of musical stuff in my, a lot of metal music stuff in my Pandora and Spotify now. Yeah, it really, once you discover like a good band that brings you into a new genre, that's always welcomed. Anyways, going next to the outro of the song, instead of like being just completely lazy and being like other songs where they just kind of copy and paste the same stuff and play it quieter and quieter every time until you get tired of it and it just backs away, repeating over and over and over. Just a very lazy and irresponsible way to end a song, and I always kind of cringe when artists do that. It doesn't matter how big or small they are. I just think it's very irresponsible. Right, because a song is an idea. It's like when giving some sort of lecture, and you're supposed to end, or like writing an essay, when you're ending on a solid conclusion. You don't just put it on repeat and just let it crank the volume button down, knob to the left, or the video is mirrored, so to the right, I guess. Whatever. That's just laziness. There's nothing else to it. But you see, Sabaton never does that, which is always just a sign of musicianship and being a responsible artist in general. The outro is, they only repeat the Fields of Verdun and the battle has begun. Nowhere to run, father and son fall one by one. Fields of Verdun, boom. Just once, clean and tight and cut, just like a proper haircut. You know, those really fancy, expensive men's haircut where everything is just so tight and clean. Yeah, that's what that is. And just, mwah, it's just good. I have no other words. Anyways, let's just leave it at that. That's my kind of 2 cents on the Fields of Verdun by Sabaton. Just kind of my analysis of what goes on, and yeah, thanks for watching. If you are interested in more of this stuff, you know, the typical YouTube thing, subscribe, like, and comment, and all that. If you don't want to, that's fine too. I may be starting other sections of the channel. I may do gaming, I may do other things, but just stay tuned. I don't officially have the upload schedule yet. I will figure that out when school starts. I'm in college right now. So yeah, stay tuned if you're interested, and bye-bye if you're not interested, if you just hate my face or something. Which is totally understandable. Bye, have a good one.